You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport.
How are you today?
Good. Well, a little anxious because I know you got a big question for me.
I do.
At the beginning of last week's episode, I let you down. I let the listeners down. So I'm just going to sit here and wait for you to ask me a question.
Okay. Well, here it comes. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a special drink tonight?
I do. I actually have a raspberry ginger ale, and I've never had raspberry ginger ale. I've been waiting for you to ask for me to open it and pour it and try it.
Okay.
Do you have a special drink?
I do. Now, you may not find this drink to be special, but this is a drink that, although a standard drink, is not a drink that I normally have for recording. So I do have a refreshing, a delicious glass of orange juice.
Ooh, I love orange juice.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes well with my raspberry ginger ale.
Yeah.
It's a special night. Let me just take a sip and then we'll get
I'm
started.
going to have another sip. I just sipped, but I'm going to have one more before we start.
Okay, I'm ready.
Mm.
Tonight is a special night of Keep Canada Weird. Not only do we have amazing stories to cover from Weird Canada over the past week, we have some really interesting voicemails. So I want to jump right into it. This first voicemail I'm going to play that I'm going to open the show with is really interesting how all this came together. So it's no secret that you and I are trying hard to keep this show positive, right?
Yeah, I no longer have to try hard because it's coming very naturally to me to keep the show positive.
Yeah. So we were going through a period there where we had a lot of hate mail and we were playing it, and you began to encourage listeners to send in hate mail about me to balance things out.
Yeah, I did do that.
A listener named Kelly, she sent us a voicemail where she just had enough of the negativity. And it was Kelly who inspired us to turn over a new leaf and focus on the positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it worked.
Yeah.
As a thank you for Kelly's voicemail, as I often do, I send swag packs to listeners. That includes the couple Keep Canada Weird stickers and the Keep Canada Weird correspondence badge, which is actually a pin. Now, I'll be honest, when I send out these packs, I'm often in a rush because I'm addressing like 20 letters at once. It's a pain in the butt to do, but it's my responsibility to do it, so I do it. But the letter that arrives at your house, by the time it gets there, my sloppy handwriting, it looks like a little bit of a sketchy package showing up in your mailbox. As a thank you for Kelly turning this show positive, she almost ended up with the bomb squad at her house. Listen to this voicemail.
Hey, Jordan and Aaron. This is Kelly from New Orleans. I called a few weeks ago to implore you to stop the hate and bring on the love mail, and it's been delightful. So I'd like to say that I'm loving the love vibe that's happening on the podcast again. But I have a funny story. I called to thank you for my correspondent badge and the stickers that you sent. I've put them in places that will remind me of the podcast and maybe spread the show to others. But when it arrived at my house, my husband texted me a picture of the envelope and said, "Were you expecting anything from anyone, specifically anyone in Canada?" And of course, in the moment, I couldn't think of anything. And he said, "The package is very suspicious looking. It's completely unmarked, no return address." And I should preface this with, it's a little tense here in the States right now following the election. And my family had been flying a flag for the other team, shall we say, for quite some time. So tensions are a little high right now, especially in a place like Louisiana. So my husband recorded himself opening the package just in case it exploded or something, because he said it felt like there was some kind of device inside, which turned out to be the pin on the button. But he recorded the whole thing and then sent me a picture of the swag, which I was very pleased about. But I just thought you might enjoy the story because we thought we might have had some sort of domestic terror incident, but in fact it was just my nighttime and Keep Canada Weird swag goodies for being a correspondent. So thanks so much both for the stickers and the correspondent button and also for the laughs. Great show. Still enjoying it, guys. Keep Canada Weird.
I never thought about how these packages look showing up at your door. And I do love that the husband thought there was a device inside. It was just like a button like that you'd put on your shirt. So
Yeah, I'm well aware of the button. I have
yeah,
one.
that's true. What do you think of this mix up?
Mhm. I don't know if I'd say it's a mix-up per se, but it's certainly a very humorous situation, and it's cool that you don't put a return address on there. Is that intentional?
It would take like twice as long to mark all the envelopes. And if it doesn't get to the person that I'm sending it to, it's only a couple stickers and a button. I don't want them to have to bring it all the way
Hmm.
back to me. I probably should put return addresses on it. Going forward, I will put, if not a return address, I'll just write like nighttime or something in the corner. So at least people know it's not,
Or something. Yeah, you could put a nighttime or keep kind of weird sticker in the corner.
yeah, just so people know it's not like a device.
Yeah, yeah. Just put this is not a device on the package.
Regular envelope, open indoors, it's safe.
Yeah, this is not a bomb or
Yeah.
anthrax. Put that on the package.
Well, I thought that was an interesting and fun way to open the show, but we got to get into it here. That may have been a little bit of a mix up with the letter, but it's nothing compared to the mix up we're going to hear about in tonight's first story. Again, we're going to be recapping the week in weird Canadian news for anyone new to the show. The first story we're going to be talking about is what I'm simply going to call the wrong leg amputation. A 48-year-old man who'd been living with a bone infection in his right foot had an amputation surgery at Grace Hospital in Winnipeg, Manitoba. But when he woke up from the procedure, he noticed a little bit of a mistake. The wrong leg had been removed. But oddly enough, as you're going to hear in the news clip, this guy has a pretty good attitude about the whole thing. I'll play the clip and then we'll talk about this. Here it comes.
I'm realizing that, darn, they took the wrong leg.
Outside Winnipeg's Grace Hospital, a patient safety review is currently underway after a 48-year-old man went in for a leg amputation but woke up to find his other leg removed below the knee. While it's currently unclear where responsibility lies, it has raised serious questions.
When you get that ball in your throat and you want to cry and scream, and I was so devastated and hurt, and I kept feeling my face and telling myself, it's just a dream. This can't be happening.
I don't know how that a mistake like this has been made, and it should be corrected immediately. And we do support the family and what they would like to do.
Jason continues to be deeply affected by the life-altering consequences of the amputation and now is taking steps to try and save his other leg. He hopes by sharing his story, this will prevent similar incidents from happening to someone else. But despite everything he's gone through and will continue to go through, he isn't mad and forgives everyone involved.
Things happen for a reason, I like to say, but I basically forgave him, and that's all I can do, and all I can do is laugh about it and say, it's actually going back. That's what I said. And they all laughed and said, you know what, you have a good heart.
Meanwhile, the province's health minister called the situation heartbreaking and stressed that her office is working closely with health officials to ensure such an incident doesn't occur again.
I've heard of things like this happening, but when you see it in the news, you see the fella's face who just dealt with this. Man, I feel horrible for this guy. Getting a leg amputated would be awful. A huge life-changing surgery or operation. But then at the end of it, when you wake up and the wrong leg is gone, it's like you because of some mistake, you've just lost both your legs. That's pretty awful.
Yeah, not only is the wrong leg gone, but also you're still stuck with the issue that you went in there to get fixed to begin with.
And the other leg is going to be gone. Like you'll just have to get
Yeah.
rescheduled to have the other leg gone. And we heard the one of the people talking in that news clip was like the chief of the indigenous tribe he's a member of, saying like, how could this happen? This mistake needs to be corrected immediately. It's a weird choice of words because you cannot correct the amputation of a wrong leg.
What else are you going to do other than provide them with as much financial compensation as possible?
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it other than, man, that sucks. And man, are you surprised he has a positive attitude about it?
Yeah, this guy's attitude is unbelievable, that he's so forgiving, so positive. It's inspiring to see, and he's right where being angry and bitter about it is not going to bring someone's leg back. It's not
Yeah,
going to
like
change
it's
the
done.
situation.
This is just
Yeah.
the way it is now. So, yeah, I guess to be able to come out on that, to come out and see it that way and be able to be positive about it, or I don't know if positive is the word, but to even be like accepting of it, I'm surprised by that. But good for him because it's an awful situation. But speaking of awful situations and being accepting about things, we have a story that we got to get into quickly as well. So I'm going to move us right into the next story. And this is a big one. It's big news in Nova Scotia. And actually, it's becoming international news. I've seen several major news organizations covering the story of what I'll just simply call the OnlyFans dog sitter. Did you know that? Did you come across in the wild the story of the OnlyFans dog sitter?
I did actually. I was going to send it to you, but I was like, no, he'll definitely see that. There's no point in me texting you that story, but I did read it on CBC
Okay. I've
recently.
gotten
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of emails and messages about the OnlyFans dog sitter. We got to get right into it. I'll keep it simple here. A homeowner in Nova Scotia found themselves in a very uncomfortable position. They realized that their dog sitter had been using their home as the set for amateur porn that they were filming and posting or selling on OnlyFans. Here's a news clip where we're going to hear the owner of the home talk about how she came to this realization and how she feels about it. And we're going to have a lot of questions for each other about this. Here comes the story of the OnlyFans dog sitter.
Amanda Jodry LeBlanc is warning others after her home ended up on OnlyFans.
They were in there doing
Yeah,
the stuff
yeah,
and posted it.
yeah.
She's pointing out her distinct bathroom tile. Seeing it in the background of explicit videos promoted on social media was the moment she realized something was wrong.
I guess I was so shocked by it that I still am shocked by it, to be honest with you.
The videos were posted on OnlyFans, a subscription website mainly used for pornographic content. The account belonged to the person she'd hired to look after her dogs. The videos are too graphic to show. Jodry LeBlanc asked that the content filmed at her house be taken down, and the dog sitter did so. Nova Scotia RCMP could not say whether a crime was committed since the incident was not reported to police. The dog sitter did not respond to requests for an interview. For Jodry LeBlanc, it's about a violation of trust. She wants others to be cautious about who they allow in their homes.
You do you. You know, everyone can do whatever they want. I don't care. People have to make money. People like to do that. Good on them. That's on you. I just don't want it done in my home.
Where do we start with this?
I have some thoughts on it. Do you want to go first?
What's your first thought? You go first.
My first thought is calm down. That's my first thought.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I think this woman is a bit over dramatic about the situation.
I'm shocked to hear you say that because I feel like I would be even more upset about it.
Here's the reason why, and I'm going to break it down for
and then
you.
I'm going to argue in favor. I'm going to be the lawyer representing the homeowner.
In a very positive way, we're both going to respectfully disagree with each other on this story, but maybe I can sway you my way. We'll see. So I think that she said she spoke to the woman, right? And she asked for the videos and pictures that were taken in her house to be taken down. And they were. So why are you on the news about it?
I see that point. I think there is a serious breach of trust by the dog sitter doing this in the house. I think it was ethically and morally wrong to do it in this client's house. Like the news clip we heard focused on this one homeowner, but if you actually do some background, she was advertising her services on Facebook, among other places. But a lot of people were hiring her just through Facebook groups and stuff. And some of the other people she hired said they had found out that she actually recorded videos in their bed. There was some person who said she made a video where she was sitting on like their kitchen counters, doing it.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think taking down the video is yeah, I don't think that's enough. I'm firmly in the side of the homeowner, on the side of the homeowners. And in fact, the woman at the heart of the story, the OnlyFans creator, is unapologetic about it. There was a post made by them, kind of bragging. I would call it a brag about like they posted a screenshot of someone who had sent them a $25 tip, being like, everyone's finding out about me because I was, that situation with me filming at a client's home. But, you know, something to the effect of like, but I'm making money out of it. And they posted a $25 tip, which I think is just a really bad look.
She's kind of right in the sense of, okay, you're going to go to the media about this. All you're doing is drawing traffic to my OnlyFans by doing that. So going to the media doesn't slow this content creator down. It speeds them up.
Yeah, maybe that's true, but it's also like people are going to be pretty cautious about hiring a dog sitter. Like I feel pretty bad for the other people marketing themselves as dog sitters in Nova Scotia right now.
Like I agree, she shouldn't be doing graphic content, pictures and videos in the homes. I agree
Even
with
like
that.
even not even you can drop the words like graphic and explicit. Like if you have a job where your other people are allowing you into their home, like entrusting you with their home, I wouldn't even take like a picture in the house, like a selfie or something, let alone film like pornography. I would see it as an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, I probably would too, but at the same time, if they didn't, like if I came across whatever kind of content creator, because I don't think, I mean, there's parts of this where the sexual nature of it is important, because if she's going to be actually doing sexual acts, on the kitchen counter and
Like it's
things like that, that's a no-no for sure. But I think the sexual nature of, like, say if she was just taking kind of pictures of her topless or something, where she's not really affecting the environment in a sanitary way. She's just topless, taking some photos, in the living room or something like that, or in the
but
bedroom.
okay, go on. Just I'm giving you a long enough rope to
So
do your own damage
yeah,
yourself.
yeah. So anyway, I don't think the sexual nature of the fact that it's OnlyFans, I think there is a stigma there, because it's erotic content, and I think she went too far with what she did. I agree with you there, but I also think there's also a mixing in of stigma of people who create that style of content.
Maybe I like
And there always has been, and seemingly there always will be. Because if I don't think that they would be upset if there was another type of content that she was creating that was, say, I'm a dog sitter and this is my life as a dog sitter. These are the two dogs that I'm dog, because I see that on TikTok all of the time. There's a content creator on TikTok that I follow that house sits for, not dog sits, but house sits as a part-time job. And they post content of themselves in the house all of the
I wouldn't even
time.
be comfortable with that. If I had a hired a house sitter and then I found out they were just filming walking around my house, I'd be pretty upset. But I definitely would be more upset if they were naked, touching themselves and selling it.
Well, is it the fact that they're selling it, or is it the fact that they're naked? Like, what's the thing that triggers you there?
You're blowing my mind. All of it.
Well, what is it, not specifically you, but what is it do you think that ultimately bothers society about that?
I don't know if I can answer that question.
Because this would never have made the news if it wasn't sexual.
Let's say if instead of it being OnlyFans and masturbating, she was I don't know, like it was into like doing her nails. And in this video, she made videos of herself in the client's bathroom painting her nails this amazing way. That wouldn't be a big deal.
So anyway, I think there's a lot of angles to this story. There's things that the OnlyFans creator did wrong for sure. She went too far here. I think the woman went too far by taking it to the media when seemingly the content creator was cooperative with her. And I think
Just one thing on the media is going to the media, it almost seems pointless because the video is already down and it doesn't name like the dog sitter or anything. So it's not like you could, I assume she went to the news because she wanted to warn other people to not hire this person, but they don't say her name. So that would just make anybody who works as a dog sitter in Nova Scotia a suspect in this. So I feel bad for all the
absolutely.
other dog sitters who aren't filming themselves masturbating in their clients' bathrooms.
Yeah. Or they're just not filming it. They're still doing it.
All of them?
80%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like before we started tonight, you got like a call from OnlyFans and you got like a check there, like to advocate on behalf of porn creating dog sitters of this nation.
There is something about this person who went to the media about it that I do question the motives.
Yeah, I also question how she found out about it. Because the homeowner actually subscribed to this person's OnlyFans account to find it. So I wonder what led her to suspect that content was being filmed in her house, subscribe to it, and imagine that conversation. Like writing your dog sitter, like, listen, I got to talk to you about something. I subscribed to your OnlyFans and I saw the video of you masturbating in my bathroom and I asked you to take down the video. Like that would be such an awful, awkward conversation.
Yeah.
We're over time on this story, so let's go to a quick ad break. And when we get back, I got a duo of stories about animals. And these are two more bangers of stories. This is a big night. Refill your drink, Aaron. We got a big collection of stories ahead of us. So Aaron, we got back-to-back animal stories. The first one I want to start with is a pretty sad story. Now I don't know if this is a statement about the current state of Canada's opioid epidemic, which is serious, but the way opioids play into this animal story, it's pretty strange. I've never heard of anything like this. A family of raccoons in Maple Ridge, British Columbia, had to be treated for a fentanyl overdose, of all things. This is the story of the raccoons on fentanyl. Here it comes. Should we explain what fentanyl is? I think everybody knows what that is.
It's a really heavy drug.
Basically like heroin, I think.
Yeah.
It's not something raccoons should be mixed up with, but let's hear about it.
Okay.
You want to tell everyone how beautiful you are? Tell them.
Ashley Bennett's family discovered raccoons living under the deck 4 years ago.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty.
And has been coexisting with what they call their outdoor cats since.
Peekaboo.
But the strict no feeding and no touching rules changed on November 8th.
For me to open that door and it not move, stir at all is bizarre. That's very unlikely.
Suspecting they'd ingested rat poison, Bennett called Critter Care, then a local vet. Dr. Adrian Walton advised her to monitor the mother and bring the smaller raccoon in, which she managed to get into her cat's banana box.
I really just hoped that it didn't wake up in the box on our transfer over to the vet.
Believing it may have been exposed to fentanyl, the Dewdney veterinary team administered Narcan, which revived the nocturnal mammal.
There was smashing glass everywhere. I walked in to find him halfway up the wall on our computer screens, just kind of hanging like there.
Dr. Walton had come out in the most sort of best hot mess possible, going, you know, the Narcan worked.
It took us about 5 minutes to wrangle him to go into the crate, but once he went in by himself, he literally just turned around, reached over, grabbed the door and shut it, and I was able to lock it.
Bennett brought the recovered raccoon back to its mother. Both were fine after a 24-hour nap.
This is exactly what happened with Beans yesterday.
Bennett says a second mother and babies showed up, also appearing drugged. They bounced back. Dr. Walton says she did the right thing after noticing the signs of animal overdose.
Did you know that animal overdose was a thing?
I mean, overdose is a thing for anything, isn't it?
I guess, but like animal overdose, I've never heard that phrase, and I've never thought about there ever being a risk of raccoons getting into fentanyl. Where the hell did they like fentanyl is like this expensive street drug. Where would a rat or a raccoon get access to this?
I don't know. That's the main thing I was wondering when I read this story was how did they get
Get
access
at
to
it.
it?
Yeah, because they would be eating like garbage and stuff, and I don't
Yeah, there
see
must have been
why.
something in some garbage somewhere, some drugs that had fentanyl in it. Um, and and that's how it happened, I guess, but we can
Yeah,
only
but
speculate at this point.
yeah, but it's pretty fortunate that the mother and baby raccoon who had ingested the fentanyl, there was like kind of one safe place for them, which was like on this lady's porch or whatever. When they were feeling bad, that's where they went and they just kind of like crash on her, on her patio. And fortunately, this lady that we heard in the story noticed that something wasn't right, and she probably saved the lives of at least the baby raccoon. They had to give this thing Narcan, which is what you give like a human being that's overdosing on a drug to kind of snap them out of it. I'm surprised a vet would have that on hand or
That's
be
what
able
I was
to.
going to say. How did the vet have access to that? Like, did they keep it on hand, or did they contact a human hospital?
Yeah, because I'm thinking like at a vet clinic, they probably do have heavy duty painkillers for when they're doing surgeries and stuff on the animals. So, but even when they do administer that, there it would be controlled, so there wouldn't be a need for Narcan to like snap them out of a overdose or something. But maybe there is. Like if you're gonna do some big surgery to a cat or a dog or something, maybe there's a risk you can give them too much, and you got to give them Narcan to snap them out of it. But
Yeah, good on this woman for taking the steps that she did to rescue these raccoons and
she calls them her outdoor cats, and that's kind of
her
cute.
outdoor cats. You see a lot of these, they call them raccoon whisperers, or people who interact or feed or, you know, basically take on these raccoons that live in the area and yeah, treat them like pets. You see it more
Yeah,
and more, don't you? Do you
yeah,
notice that?
yeah, and like we have the famous fella in Nova Scotia who was, I think, the first one to use the name the Raccoon Whisperer, Jim Blackwood. But yeah, I've seen a lot of videos of people in and around raccoons, but I see why. Like it is a gorgeous animal. If they could, what's it called when you make it like friendly to come in your house? Yeah, if you could
Domesticate.
like domesticate raccoons, they'd be amazing pets, and they're
Well, I've
very
seen
clean.
people. I've seen people on TikTok that do that. That
Yeah,
they have like an indoor raccoon pet.
but what if they could breed it in some way that it was like kind of like this docile thing, kind of like a cat or like a house cat or a dog? Like I would love to have a raccoon roaming around my house if it was
Well, if you
safe.
give it just a little bit of fentanyl and not too much fentanyl, then it will totally chill the raccoon
Ooh.
out, and you'll have a pretty good time with them at that
So
point.
are we kind of on to something here? Is there
Yeah,
maybe more to this story? Like they're my outdoor cats, but I love these precious babies. If only I could
yeah. They
bring them
only
in
let
my
me.
house.
They only let me hug them when they're on fentanyl.
A little more won't hurt.
It won't
Uh,
hurt me.
I see what you're getting at. Because I also thought it was a shock that the vet suspected fentanyl. Like, I feel like if you brought a drowsy raccoon to the vet, like it'd be pretty far down the list of things that I would suspect the cause to be before I'm like, maybe he got into fentanyl or heroin. I would have assumed 1,000 things first, but I'm not a vet.
No, no. And this is probably a hardened vet that has seen it all. So
Yeah,
he probably, his first assumption is fentanyl.
yeah, and the mean streets of Maple Ridge, BC. Like,
Mhm.
we got rough raccoons around here. It's another fentanyl, like another fentanyl overdose. Um, I got a story that I want to move into here that I don't know how you're going to take this because it ties into a lot of things we've talked about before. We did receive a voicemail, more than one, I think, referring to domesticated house cats as invasive species. And I know that those voicemails weren't, you weren't very fond of hearing cats talked about that way. I don't know how you're going to respond to this story. We'll just call this one the cat infestation. An Ontario neighborhood has found itself infested by an unlikely critter. Cats, hundreds, maybe thousands of them, are stinking up the neighborhood, and it doesn't seem like anyone knows what to do about a cat infestation. Here it comes.
Injured cats, sick cats, cats that like to lounge on a trailer, cats in the pool, cats in the street, cats that leave enough feces behind to fill a pail. This is what life in Kerwood looks like for retirees Randy and Cheryl Campbell.
They're running the neighborhood. They're in buildings behind the house. They're in the garage. They're in hidden rooms, transport trailers. They're using kitty litter, kiddie pools as kitty litter boxes.
The Campbells say their neighbors across the street keep more than 100 cats on their property in varying health conditions. They say they've sought help from the township of Adelaide Metcalfe, but the cat crisis continues.
I've called the township, I've called the OPP, I've reached out to every avenue that I could see possible, and it all keeps going around in circles that I need to go back to the next person, and one person says to go to this person.
We knocked on the neighbor's door to see if they'd talk about the cats, but no one answered. Meantime, the CAO of Adelaide Metcalfe says the township has attempted to deal with the problem over several years, having removed cats in the past. The township did not agree to an interview, but sent a statement saying it's aware of the cat population issue and it's trying to resolve that issue. But it is little comfort to a couple with a cat problem that just won't go away.
We can't sit on our patio because the cat urine smell is atrocious. There is feces all over our yard. I can get 5 gallons per week scooped up in a pail every week.
Hundreds of cats. And this is something, as we heard in the note from the city they included there, this has been going on for years.
Yeah, I like the start of this news story where the reporter was like sounding just like Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
It's cats in the air, cats that are cool, cats in the pool, cats that drool.
It must just be, a crazy cat lady story, like or cat man, cat lady, or cat man and woman, or cat house. But I'm turning into the reporter. But there are
cats on the mattress, cats on the ceiling.
Is it a bad thing that there are this many cats? I think so. I think it's not fair for the cats. I'm more worried about the cats than I am these neighbors who are offended by the I'm assuming awful smell of urine that must be around there, and the fact that she can scoop up. In the news clip, she's scooping up poop, which is awful.
Gallons of it. She was almost bragging about it, though.
I can get 5 gallons of this stuff.
I can get 5 gallons easy, way more than you could get.
But I feel bad for the cats. There was a couple shots there where you saw a cat with, obviously wasn't in good health, and that's very wrong.
Yeah. If there's a way that they can humanely deal with this situation and get the cats removed in a way that puts them in a healthier environment where they can thrive, that is the solution that I hope for here. Otherwise, I don't know how else they're really going to deal with it. They're going to have to round the cats up. Maybe there's a feral cat society that could help out with this. I don't know. There's a lot of them. It's a lot
too many
of resources.
That's a sad story. How many cats are too many? You have one boy there, and he keeps you busy. Could you have 3 cats?
Could I have 3 cats? I could certainly. I have enough love in me to give to 3 cats, but I don't know if my cat would. He's been such a spoiled only cat for his whole life. I don't know how he would react to more cats coming into the house. I think he might get territorial. I think it would definitely stress him out. It might go smoothly. We don't know. But he is an only cat, and he's the only cat for me.
This here house in this news clip, can you imagine what it's like inside this house? Because I think the cats come and go from the house. There's whoever lives in that house, it's like their family members, if they have any family. Those people need to step up and help get this under control, because it seems like there's some someone falling between the cracks when your neighbors are on the news complaining about your hundreds of cats.
So the house, is there people living in the house, or is it an abandoned house? Or did they say in the news clip that?
I'm sure someone lives there. And I'm sure
Yeah.
they're not like, okay, let me kind of help you and work with you to figure this out. I don't think, yeah.
Doesn't sound like there's a bylaw specific enough for this situation.
Yeah. Thou shall not have over 5 cats.
Yeah. Only, yeah, you have to only as many cats as fingers.
That would be a fair rule.
I think so.
A common sense rule. Well, let's go to our final ad break of the night. When we get back, we're going to go on a little bit of a vacation. We're crossing the border into the U.S. after this break. I just want to ask you a question here, Aaron, before we start. What is our mission on this show?
Well, to keep Canada weird, of course, and also to be positive.
And we do that, the Keeping Canada Weird, by seeking out and highlighting the unique and offbeat news stories that played out across Canada over the past week. Right?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Here's the problem. There was this story I came across, and I was like, I just thought, this is an amazing story, and I want to talk to Aaron about it. And I want listeners of the show, correspondents of Keep Canada Weird, I wanted all Keep Canada Weird Nation to know about this story. So I dug deep into it, being like, is there any Canadian connection? Are one of these people from Canada? Is it on the Canadian border? Is there, any Canadian moment within the story? There isn't. So I said, you know what? Screw it. On tonight's episode, we're going to be doing a dumb American criminal. The story involves an organized insurance fraud ring that recently got busted in Los Angeles, California. 4 separate automobile insurers received claims about luxury vehicles that had been damaged by bears. The claimants even provided security footage showing the bears entering their vehicles. But there was a bit of a problem. The bears seen in the security footage, they looked a little bit off, which led to an insurance fraud investigation dubbed Operation Bear Claw. This news clip we're going to hear will let you know the findings of Operation Bear Claw. Here it comes.
California officials say 4 people have been arrested for running an insurance scheme with a fake bear. Video was submitted to the insurance company that alleged to show the animal entering a 2010 Rolls-Royce Ghost on January 8th and damaging it. But according to a statement from the California Insurance Department, upon further scrutiny of the video, it has determined to be a fraudulent claim, and the bear was actually someone in a costume. The group also submitted claims for damage to 2 other cars. The department said the scam cost insurance companies more than $141,000.
That's amazing. I would have never thought of that. I mean, that's pretty far out there, but hey, whatever works. But I mean, if they found the bear suit.
Whoever's inside that vehicle is not moving like a bear. He's moving like a human. Insurance investigators are trained extensively to detect fraud, not only human factor detecting fraud, as well as nowadays the AI, and we got all kinds of cross-referencing. And then, of course, opening the door and getting inside the vehicle. That is highly suspect and questionable.
It's got to be one of the most ridiculous crimes we've covered on this show, and we've covered a lot of them.
Yeah, I love watching the video and just seeing the guy in the bear costume just literally open the car door like a human.
Yeah.
And get in the car like a human.
Mm-hmm.
And then just starting to scratch at things with their fake claws.
Yeah, and like the video looks awful. It's obviously not a bear. But if you look at the damage inside the car, it also does not look like something a bear would do, or like the damage a bear would cause. Like what he was actually doing was, it was someone putting on a bear suit, opening the door, getting in the car, and in his hands he was holding, it was almost like, it looked sort of like brass knuckles that had like 4 or 5 spikes coming out of it. So like metal kind of claw, brass knuckles things. So he got in the car and he was like kind of just like scratching up the leather seats and stuff, I guess to get the insurance company to, I don't know, pay out or whatever, however that sort of thing works. But when you looked at photos that they showed in that article inside the car of the damage, it very clearly was like straight scratches. Like it looked like he just carefully made straight scratches across the leather and dash and whatnot. Like it's just a stupid thing. I'm not shocked at all that these guys got caught. I am shocked that they came up with such a brazen, ridiculous scheme.
Well, in theory, the idea on paper, I think, works, but they just didn't go the distance to make sure that the damage that they caused and the movements of the individual in the bear costume were realistic to that of a bear. So I think the idea is good. You have grainy security footage. If you have a realistic bear costume, it's kind of like that classic footage of Bigfoot, kind of walking in the woods or whatever. It's off in the distance a bit. It's grainy. You can't really say yes or no. And this would be kind of the insurance version of that video. And if they just had have gone the distance, if they just had have moved like a bear, like maybe the car door was left open, maybe somebody was taking their groceries out before the bear comes over, takes their groceries into the house, leaves the car door open, and then after a few minutes, a bear saunters up on all fours.
Yeah, and like maybe
slowly,
they left one bag of groceries in the car, so the smell of that is what brought the bear in.
Yeah, they should have really approached us to write this insurance scam for them.
Yeah, at least help with a bit of the narrative.
Just the script of it. Like, we won't participate. Like, I'm not playing the bear. You're not playing the grocery buyer.
Just like a bit like creative consultants.
Yeah, we've got ideas.
Yeah, I think that they're a part of their plan seemed to be to film this and use it as evidence. They did a horrible job with that aspect of it. So they would have been better off to just not film it and say, yeah, I don't know what happened. Must have been a bear or some teenagers or something.
Yeah, it must have been an idiot in a bear costume with some kind of brass knuckles that have claws on them.
Ridiculous scheme. I'm glad they got caught, and I hope all their friends and family know about the ridiculous thing they did. And these vehicles, super like luxury vehicles. It was the vehicle in question was a Rolls Royce. So these are really expensive vehicles. You'd think these would be smart criminals if they can, commit insurance fraud involving luxury cars, but apparently not. They must come from rich families and tried to like go bad and ended up getting arrested with a bear costume.
Who knows what journey these individuals went on to arrive in the exact moment where they decided that one of them needed to don a fake bear costume and crawl inside of a Rolls Royce and claw it up with some fake bear claws. I mean, it's whatever decisions they made in their life brought them to that moment where they felt that they had no other choice but to do that.
And
I respect that. I respect that that's their journey, and that's where God brought them.
And this is our second interesting like bear fraud type story. Remember we had the guy in Halifax not too long ago who claimed he was attacked by a bear. They had the park shut down, and then it turned out,
him. Yeah,
turned out it wasn't. He also had wounds that looked a little too clean to be a bear. He had the scratches. Leave the bears alone, you weird criminal liars.
Yeah. What they're getting, these criminals are getting the raccoons messed up on fentanyl, and they're also tarnishing the good name of the bear.
And they're letting the cats breed unrestrictedly in the neighborhood. And it's probably some of the same people who are filming OnlyFans videos in your bathroom when you're not home. This world is...
No, I think that's a different... I think those are different people.
Different group. We're going to start wrapping it up, but I do have two pieces of voicemail I want to get to before we go. Is that okay with you?
Yeah,
I usually
totally.
drop them in throughout the show, but I think the stories tonight were too good. I just got on a roll. So let's get caught up on voicemails. The first one is a listener named Jacqueline, and I think she's trying to expose maybe a slander campaign against us being run by Spotify. And this all involves podcast rankings. If anyone tells you that Keep Canada Weird or the Nighttime Podcast is a 4-star podcast, let them know it's only because Spotify is screwing them. Here it comes.
Hi, guys. I was listening to your podcast this morning and realized that it only had a 4 point something star rating, which I thought was an abomination. You guys clearly deserve 5 stars across the board. So I figured I'd take it upon myself to give you a 5-star rating on Spotify. And when I clicked on it, it wouldn't allow me to give you 5 stars. And I thought, this is ridiculous. So it allows you to give any stars between 1 and 4. After you click 5 full stars, the submit button disappears. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention this morning because you guys clearly deserve 5-star ratings, but that could be why. Anyway, I love you guys and hope this gets sorted.
I think there's only one way to sort this. Well, there's 2 ways. The first way is to test it. And I went on Spotify and I was able to give us 5 stars. I've never rated us before. I rated us 5 stars and it worked okay. But just to be safe, if everybody listening could go on to whatever podcast platform they use, give us a 5-star review just to see what happens.
I'm doing it right now. Keep Canada Weird.
Click like rate. There was a spot where you can like rate the show.
Yeah.
But see if you can give us 5
I clicked 5 stars and I hit submit.
And it worked?
I guess.
Okay. Well, everyone should do that. I believe it helps us in some way. I don't know how. But if you want to give us 5 stars, or if it gives you the chance to write a review, write the most ridiculous review possible. I like that.
Yeah, it didn't look like it gave me a chance to.
I don't think Spotify allows you to give reviews. That's like an Apple Podcast thing.
That's an Apple Podcast thing. Our rating is much better on Apple Podcasts. So.
Okay. Let's go to another piece of voicemail. This is an interesting one as well. This is a listener named Alex, a correspondent named Alex, who got caught up in kind of the changeover from Hategate to the Love Fest that we're enjoying right now on the show. Alex sent a voicemail kind of right in the middle of that changeover, which led to them needing to kind of start over with a more positive message. Here comes Alex's voicemail. This all involves whether or not I would be able to run a Robin's Donuts. Here it comes.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Alex from Tucson, Arizona. Here keeping Tucson shitty. I called a few weeks ago and my voicemail was not played because there was a referendum on hate mail. So I want to modify my voicemail. I'm going to take a more positive approach. And I want to say basically the same thing, but more about how it could also mean that Jordan would run a Robin's Donuts well. So Jordan, because of his past experience, having his car broken into and his Halloween chips stolen out of his trunk, he'd be really paying a lot of attention to the security cameras. Like he'd be in there all the time, watching the security cameras, nothing, like making sure nothing went wrong. And if, say, there was a drive-through employee starting an illegal drug trade out of the drive-through window, Jordan would be catching that really quickly. Like he'd realize it right away. And he'd put a stop to it. And he'd prevent Robin's Donuts from going the way that Tim's went with the illegal drug trade, drive-through window. And it's probably led to all the other, crimes and assaults going on outside of the drive-through of Tim's. So I think that Jordan could save a Robin's Donuts and save their reputation and protect it. So that's my positive thought for the day for you guys. I think you're so fantastic and keep talking with your cutie pie voices. Bye.
Thank you, Alex. Alex did an amazing job of referencing some past episodes.
Yeah, yeah, and
Keen
I like
listener.
that she really carved out a new possible career for you as a not a Robin's Donuts manager, but just seemingly a security consultant.
Just watching the cameras from the back. Well,
Just watching cameras and preventing people from dealing drugs and breaking up fights.
I would do that. That'd be a cool job. Like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
many coffee shops have like loss prevention officers, but that's what I would call it. I would be working like loss prevention and risk management at the local Robin's Donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Yeah, and
Alex.
I would actually be the manager of the Robin's Donuts, and I would hire you as my security consultant.
Hmm. Okay, this is great. Well, if we're not going to be the duo mayor, maybe the two of us can parlay this podcasting career into franchising a Robin's Donuts that we co-manage. Well, you
But we can
manage.
podcast from the coffee shop.
Ooh, we don't have to worry about privacy concerns because we run the place. You can hop up on the counter if you
Yeah.
want to, get crazy.
And I will hop up on the counter. I just won't film it.
Okay. I think we have our career path sorted. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Let's start wrapping up the show. I want to send one message out, though, for people who are awaiting swag packs slash terror packages, if we want to call them that, I guess, for some people. Canada Post is on strike right now, so there's no mail moving in Canada. So any swag packs are going to be delayed until that's all sorted. But that said, if you heard your voicemail aired tonight, send me an email at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com and give me your mailing address, and I will get one out to you when mail starts moving again. That's an administrative note.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And it's been a really positive show tonight. We were able to engage in spirited discussions on different topics and different stories, and we weren't attacking each other. We were just simply exchanging ideas.
It was a conversation, not a debate tonight, where normally it's a bit of a debate. And talk about different ideas or different topics. Oh my God, we've covered the gamut tonight, from OnlyFans to animals to amputations to maybe bombs being mailed. It's like, come on, this has been wild.
I love it.
It's a great episode.
Yeah. Let's stamp it as great.
Funny you said that, because I was thinking, let's put a stamp on this, since I just mentioned Canada Post. Let's put a stamp on this. Let's put a bow on this. Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan Bus Stop Bonaparte. Until next time.
I would say I want to kind of summon like the spirit of Bob Barker and say, like, spay and neuter your pets. I love cats, I love dogs, but seeing them breed out of control is not good for anybody, especially not for the cats. That story bothered me.
And Jordan, until next time, if you don't have any plans this New Year's Eve, the Gordons, my Bare Naked Ladies tribute act, is performing this New Year's Eve at the Curling Club in Sydney, Nova Scotia. So you can purchase tickets on Eventbrite if you search the Gordons New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, Cape Breton Island. You know what? I think I'll be there. And can you give me a deal on the tickets?
Yeah, the deal is you can go on Eventbrite and search the Gordons New Year's Eve in Sydney, and you'll find the event that you can purchase the ticket for $50.
I'm there. And anyone else in the Sydney area who wants to have a good time and hear some great Bare Naked Ladies cover songs.
We're adding all other 90s classics outside of the Bare Naked Ladies because it's New Year's Eve and we want to make it special. There will be some very nostalgic 90s pop rock coming at you New Year's Eve.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. But if any one of you out there want to contribute to this mission even more, we need all the correspondence we can get. If something weird happens in your neck of the woods, or if you have any thoughts, theories, or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we want to hear about it. The best way to reach us is by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. Aaron and I are really excited to hear from you. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up this episode, but before I do, let me end with some thanks. First, a big thanks to all the Keep Canada Weird correspondents who contributed to this episode. If you heard a voice message of yours aired, please email me your mailing address at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll have your Keep Canada Weird badge sent right out to you. I just ask that you wear it proudly and use it responsibly. Next, I want to give a big thanks to Aaron for sharing another great evening with me and with you, the listeners of the show. A shout out to Unicole, who provides the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. But lastly, and most importantly, a massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening, as without your interest and your support, this show would be as pointless as it would be impossible. And now, on the topic of support, a very special thanks goes out to the newest premium feed subscribers, Trish, Kristen, and Shanda. Thank you for going premium. And for anyone else who'd like to support the show, you can do it in a variety of ways. First of all, a premium feed subscription costs just a couple dollars a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those new episodes 2 days early, give them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of episodes. That sounds like something you're interested in. You can go premium right now at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed isn't for you, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media and letting all your like-minded friends know why they should listen. Your support is very much appreciated. Now, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let us know if you see anything weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
Now I'm going to sit on the counter. This is where the celery was chopped, where the cucumbers were chopped, the salad was made. Just dogs barking in the background. Shut up! Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. The celery.